The beginning of the film, we see a young girl leaving her workplace late at night after working extra hours. She spots a taxi, but some people get in before her and drive away with it. With no other option left, she decides to walk home. As she reaches a dark street, a van pulls up beside her, and its driver, Do-shik, offers to drop her home. The girl didn't know Do-shik, so she didn't want to go with a stranger in the middle of the night. She immediately refused his offer and continued walking on foot. But after going a little further, she heard some strange noises coming from the van. When she turned around, she saw that the van's door was open, and someone inside was crying for help in a painful voice. As she walked closer and looked inside the van, she saw a girl's dead body. In reality, it was Do-shik who had been making those sounds. Suddenly, Do-shik grabbed her and dragged her into the van, killing her before she could escape. A short while later, he changed into clean clothes and called the police himself. 2 officers arrived at Do-shik's location, but he pretended to be just an eyewitness. He pointed the police toward the spot where he had dumped the dead bodies, and claimed that he had seen some laborers stabbing a woman there. A few days later in the story, we are introduced to Kim Kyung-mi, a deaf girl who works in customer care, helping other deaf people by communicating with them through sign language. After work, she attends a company dinner. While sitting at the table, the men there take advantage of her deafness and start making rude and inappropriate comments about her. But Kim Kyung-mi understands everything by reading their lips. After dinner, she goes to pick up her deaf mother from her workplace. Her mother is very happy because she received a good salary this month, and now both of them can finally enjoy their dream vacation on the island. In the next scene, we're shown a girl named Choi Seo-jung in another part of the city. She's getting ready to go out, but her brother, Jong-tak, a security guard, has become overly protective of her since their parents passed away. He argues with her about what clothes she should wear and what time she's allowed to come home. She promises her brother that she'll return home on time. But later that night, while she's out on a date, she ignores his messages and doesn't come back as promised. He even tries calling her, but gets no response. Left with no other option, Jong-tak decides to go out and search for her. Meanwhile, late at night, Do-shik is out again, looking for another victim. He notices that Kyung-mi drops her mother off near an alarm post and then leaves to find a parking spot for the car. Do-shik decides to follow Kyung-mi's mother, but at that moment, Seo-jung walks past him on the same path. He immediately changes his mind and decides to target her instead. He quickly runs toward her and jumps on her, attacking her without anyone noticing. Kyung-mi's mother doesn't notice a thing either, as she's facing the other way. And because of her hearing impairment, she can't hear what's happening. After finishing off Seo-jung, Do-shik heads toward Kyung-mi's mother to kill her next. But his plans keep getting interrupted. Jong-tak stops by and speaks to Kyung-mi's mother, asking if she has seen his sister. But since she can neither hear nor speak, she can't respond properly. So he leaves without getting an answer. At the same time, Kyung-mi returns from parking the car. As she walks back to meet her mother, she suddenly notices a white shoe sticking out from a dark alley, and someone seems to be calling for help, although she can't hear it. She pauses for a moment, but then decides to go into the alley. There she finds Seo-jung, crying and covered in blood, begging for help. Before Kyung-mi can do anything, Do-shik appears with an axe and lunges at her, trying to kill her. But Seo-jung pushes him away, giving Kyung-mi a chance to escape. Kyung-mi quickly runs back toward the street and reaches her mother. The moment she sees her, she turns and runs in the opposite direction to protect her. She rushes back into the parking lot and hides between the cars. She tries to escape through the rear exit of the parking lot, but the door is chained from the other side, so she can't open it fully. With no other option left, Kyung-mi runs to her car and calls her mother, asking her to wait near the alarm post. But just as she hangs up, she realizes Do-shik is sitting in the back seat with a knife in his hand. He orders her to drive, but instead of taking him out of the building, she steers the car straight toward a wall, stopping just before the crash, and using the moment to escape. Before Do-shik can catch her, Kyung-mi somehow manages to reach her mother. She quickly hits the alarm button, preventing Do-shik from coming any closer. While the mother and daughter wait for the police, Do-shik returns to his van. After hiding Seo-jung's body inside, he changes his clothes and hairstyle, making himself look like a regular businessman. Then, without any hesitation, He calmly walks up to the two women. Kyung-mi doesn't recognize him, as the killer had been wearing a mask and cap during the attack. He tells them that he's looking for his sister, and both mother and daughter believe him. Kyung-mi starts to think that the girl who asked for help might have been his sister. She is just about to lead him into the dark alley when the police arrive at the scene. The officers search the alley but find nothing. Kyung-mi then requests to check the security cameras. However, the parking lot guard informs them that some kids had messed with the cameras while smoking and turned them in a different direction. After that, all three, Do-shik, Kyung-mi, and her mother, are taken to the police station to file an official report. Inside the station elevator, Do-shik keeps glancing at the weapons hidden in his bag. Kyung-mi's mother notices this and starts to sense that something isn't right. To protect himself, Do-shik pulls out a black phone from his bag and says he just received a message from his sister, which means the body they saw earlier wasn't hers. A short while later, Kyung-mi finishes giving her statement. But the police officer tells her they can't do much without a body or a clear physical description of the killer. Do-shik tries to step in and offer help, but the officer scolds him for interfering with the investigation and other people's statements. A man sleeping on a nearby couch looks for an excuse to pick a fight with Do-shik. Sensing an opportunity, Do-shik walks over to the water cooler, picks up a cup, and insults the man in a low voice. The man loses his temper and immediately lunges at Do-shik in anger. During the scuffle, a white phone slips out of Do-shik's pocket and falls to the floor. Kyung-mi's mother quickly picks it up. A police officer pulls the angry man away and takes him to another room. Do-shik snatches the phone back from Kyung-mi's mother, then walks over to check Kyung-mi's statement under the pretense of verifying her personal details. While he's reading it, Kyung-mi's mother quietly signals to her daughter, pointing out that it's suspicious he has two different phones. Do-shik notices them communicating and asks what they're talking about. Kyung-mi simply writes nothing on a piece of paper and shows it to him. At that very moment, a police officer walks in with Jung-tak, who has come to report his missing sister. The officer questions him to show the others a picture of his missing sister, since her description closely matches Kyung-mi's statement. Do-shik pretends he's never seen the girl in the photo before, but Kyung-mi instantly recognizes the girl and hands him her written statement to read. As she tries to explain more, the officer steps out to deal with the man who was trying to barge into the room again. Seizing the moment, Do-shik leans toward Kyung-mi's mother and warns her not to move, or he'll kill Kyung-mi. He opens his bag just enough to show her what's inside. Then he grabs a knife and charges toward Kyung-mi, but her mother lets out a loud cry, alerting everyone nearby. Just in time, Jung-tak turns around and blocks the knife. A brutal fight breaks out between the two men, while the women run out to call the police. In the heat of the fight, Do-shik admits to Jung-tak that he killed Seo-jung. Furious, Jung-tak starts beating him relentlessly and even holds a knife to his throat, demanding to know where his sister is. But before things go too far, the police rush in and stop him. Do-shik immediately flips the situation and acts like the victim. Seeing the chaos and Jung-tak's aggression, the officers fall for his act and arrest Jung-tak instead. After that, the police let Do-shik go. But at Jung-tak's request, they reviewed the security footage and finally saw what really happened. Realizing their mistake, they released Jung-tak, who immediately hit the streets again to search for his sister. Meanwhile, the police escorted the two women back to their apartment. Their home is equipped with special lights that flash whenever there's any movement nearby. Later that night, while mother and daughter were quietly having tea, the light started flickering, signaling someone was at the door. Both of them grew tense, as it was already very late. But when they checked, it turned out to be the mother's co-worker, who had just come by to pick up a few bags. After that, the two older women step out of the apartment, leaving Kyung-mi alone inside. Unbeknownst to her, Do-shik has secretly returned and has already broken the motion sensor outside the door, so his movements won't trigger the lights. Once Kyung-mi goes into her room, he disables the rest of the sensors around the house. As she messages Jung-tak, Do-shik silently picks up his axe, ready to strike from behind. But just then, Kyung-mi notices a toy on the dresser suddenly activate. It's a sound-sensitive device, and its reaction alerts her just in time. She quickly turns around, narrowly avoiding Do-shik's attack. She quickly runs into another room and pushes a dresser in front of the door to block it. Then, she sends a message to Jung-tak, telling him that the killer is inside the house trying to kill her. Do-shik starts smashing the door with his axe to break in. With no other escape route, Kyung-mi jumps out the window, but as she falls, Do-shik grabs her by the hair. She struggles and manages to free herself, landing safely in a pile of trash below. Kyung-mi takes off running and Do-shik chases after her. Soon, Jong-tak finds them and begins pursuing Do-shik as well. After running for several blocks, Do-shik corners Kyung-mi in a closed-off area. He moves in to attack her, but just in time, Jong-tak arrives. To stop him from intervening, Do-shik puts his own knife to his neck and threatens to kill himself, warning that Jong-tak will never find out where his sister is if he does. Then, Do-shik sends a message to Jong-tak's phone with Seo-jung's supposed location and gives him an ultimatum: choose one of the girls. With a heavy heart, Jong-tak apologizes to Kyung-mi and rushes off to the address Do-shik gave him, which turns out to be Kyung-mi's home. When he gets there, he finds the place empty. It was a lie. A few minutes later, when Kyung-mi's mother returns, Jong-tak sees her. Meanwhile, Kyung-mi grabs a chair from a trash pile to defend herself, but Do-shik snatches it away and slams her to the ground. As he talks to Jong-tak on the phone and insults him for leaving her behind, Kyung-mi takes advantage of the moment. She grabs a handful of dirt and throws it into Do-shik's face to distract him, then makes another run for it. When she reaches the alley where her van is parked, she sees the door open and Seo-jung stepping out, holding a knife and crying out for help. On the other side, Kyung-mi's mother and Jong-tak arrive at the enclosed area, but find it empty. The two girls hide behind a trash bin in a dark alley. Kyung-mi wants Seo-jung to call 911, but she refuses. She can hear Do-shik's voice nearby. Do-shik, realizing there's no body in the van, begins searching the area. Kyung-mi quickly types a message to Seo-jung on her phone, asking her to call her brother because he's close by, and in exchange, she takes the knife from her. As Do-shik begins walking down the alley, Kyung-mi lets out a strange noise with her mouth and bangs a metal shutter nearby to divert his attention. As soon as Kyung-mi draws Do-shik's attention, she starts running back toward the city. Do-shik chases after her, and once again, Kyung-mi hits the alarm on a nearby post. Meanwhile, Seo-jung calls her brother for help. He and Kyung-mi's mother quickly rush to save her in an ambulance. Seo-jung tells them which direction Kyung-mi ran to protect her. Meanwhile, Kyung-mi runs into the city, hoping that the presence of more people will make it harder for Do-shik to catch her. She struggles to cross a busy road since she can't hear the sound of traffic, but after a few dangerous moments, she manages to make it across and enters a commercial area. She tries asking people for help, but because she can't speak, they ignore her. As Do-shik gets closer, she has no choice but to pull out her knife in self-defense. The surrounding crowd steps back and forms a circle around them. One man from the crowd tries to call the police, but Do-shik stops him by claiming that Kyung-mi is his sister and has mental issues. Taking advantage of the moment, Kyung-mi distracts him and escapes once again. However, just a few moments later, some police officers grab Kyung-mi and, believing the sister story, they take her back to Do-shik. After they leave, Kyung-mi begins to cry and pleads with him in the little sound she can manage, begging him not to kill her because she still has so much to live for. Do-shik doesn't want to kill her in public, so he drags her to a nearby alley to finish the job. But thankfully, Jong-tak arrives just in time to stop him. The two men start fighting, and Jong-tak manages to grab Do-shik by the neck and strangle him unconscious. Once the killer collapses, Jong-tak turns to check on Kyung-mi and assures her that Seo-jung is safe in the hospital, and her mother is nearby. But suddenly, Do-shik grabs him again. He had only been pretending to be unconscious. He begins attacking Jong-tak with empty bottles and trash lying around. Kyung-mi grabs the knife and intervenes, stopping him. But this time, Do-shik decides to leave the alley and go after her mother. He finds her in the middle of the commercial area and approaches her. He lies, saying that Kyung-mi is waiting for her in the alley. But just then, Kyung-mi spots them and comes up behind him with the knife in her hand. Do-shik mocks her, saying she failed to stab him properly and only managed to injure his hand. However, this was all part of Kyung-mi's plan. She deliberately handed him the knife and stabbed herself, making it look like he was the one who did it. The crowd steps back, seemingly believing Kyung-mi's trick. And when Do-shik insists that he didn't do it, no one listens to him. Just then, the police arrive and fire a warning shot into the air. But Do-shik doesn't stop. He charges at Kyung-mi to kill her. With no other option left, the police shoot him 2 or 3 times in the body. As he groans in pain, Kyungmi taunts him by showing him the magical finger. Enraged, Do-shik tries to attack her again, but Jong-tak suddenly arrives, tackles him to the ground, and finally ends his life. Several days later, Kyungmi and her mother go on the vacation they always dreamed of. Seo-jung and Jong-tak also join them. Everyone enjoys their holiday together. They take a picture to remember the trip, and with that, the movie ends.